Well, hello. What is today? Is it Wednesday? Maybe. Happy Wednesday. Happy Thursday. Whichever one it is, I know all of the days are they seem like they're being joined together, right? I don't know about you, but doesn't it seem that way? I hope you're doing okay today. Hope you're hanging in there and staying inside if you can, if you don't have to go out there to work and do different things. I hope you're staying inside, and even if you're going out, that you are um, covering up and doing necessary precautions, washing your hands real good, and all of those wonderful things that we need to do. I hope you're encouraged. I hope that everyone is okay in your family and your friends, and if you have had a loved one who's transitioned, um, know that a lot of us, you have our prayers, our sympathy, and all of those things. It's like humanity, right? In times like this, we need to come together rather than be apart. And so tonight, I thought I would do something a little different. I know some of you are like, well, who is this? Is it Yedida? It's Yedida. This is your podcast host, and this is Real Talk with Yedida. I've got two more podcasts. One is called Epilepsy Stop. It's unapologetically purple. It's for caregivers. Maybe you're a caregiver. You can pop on over there. And I've got another one that's called Pep Talk with Yedida. And on Pep Talk, I usually like to encourage and read, but I wanted to bring this over, this reading, this book that I wrote called Don't Give Up. I wanted to share it with the Real Talk with Yedida audience there, and there's a reason for that. Let me start reading to you. I chose chapter 4, one of my favorites. Actually, I have a couple of favorites in this book. It is on Amazon, and it's called Butterfly Wings. A lot of us, those of you who like butterflies, we oftentimes think about the process of the caterpillar and the whole metamorphosis and the process and the transitioning that caterpillars do to become butterflies, even to the point that the name is changed. And so I want to share this with you, kind of help you to wind down and also to encourage you tonight. So here we go. Butterfly wings. Little caterpillar, inching slowly along the ground. I wonder if you know, one day you will fly effortlessly, beautifully, carefully, without restriction. Flutter, flutter through the air, no more below or beneath, no longer frowned on, poked at, or looked at in disgust. Go through, little caterpillar. Your process will one day change your name. If you are reading this page or listening to me right now, there is a strong possibility you are in the midst of or have experienced a time in your life where you felt like throwing in the towel, forgetting about everything, and just plain old giving up. Truthfully, giving up seems easy when you feel there is no reason to live. During difficult moments, it is hard to stand when your legs keep buckling under the weight of intense pressure you are experiencing day in and day out. I write to tell you that you have to make it. You have to breathe. You have to live. And you have to survive. Why? Because. I know. What kind of a response is that? Because. Yet, I have a reason for saying this. We can equate the process we deal with to the life of a caterpillar turned to butterfly. Please give me a moment to further explain. You see, I often wondered about the process of caterpillars in comparison to humans. Both start off in one place and transition to another. Both go through stages, and both have to press through obstacles and difficulties in order to survive. To this end, I imagined having a talk with a butterfly who knew a thing or two about life. I imagine myself following the now butterfly, once caterpillar, through a very difficult process, which developed into a miraculous occurrence. The conversation started something like this. Butterfly, I asked, why do you crawl around on the ground, then wrap yourself up until nothing is showing, and then use all of your strength to break through the very thing you created to protect yourself? I imagine the butterfly and I going on a journey far too great for me to understand. As the butterfly looks at me, it does not say a word, and then beckons for me to follow. Suddenly, the butterfly begins to speak. I remember when I was a lone caterpillar, inching slowly across the grass. I inched along minding my own business, and my only goal in life was to reach my destination. The grass was familiar to me, but as I continued along, I felt my frame encounter a hard substance. The substance was so different from what I was used to, and I wanted to turn back to what was familiar, my soft green grass. But I continued to inch forward anyway. Along the way, I encountered people who called me out of my name and said I was yucky, slimy, gross, and even ugly. I wanted to tell them my name is not yucky. I am not ugly. I was created this way by my maker. But they never bothered to listen and continued ridiculing me, ignoring my very apparent embarrassment. I also encountered people who poked me with sticks and laughed as I writhed in fear. Others lifted me up and dropped me from a distance and chuckled with glee as I plummeted to the ground, squirming in severe pain. I wondered if they knew they were breaking me. I wondered if they wanted to destroy me on purpose because I didn't not look like them or act like them. But why should I? I wondered if they even cared about the things which were important to me, including my need to live and fulfill my destiny. Maybe there was no reason for their disregard of my feelings or invasion of space. But they cared nothing of my emotions or my opinion. So after continuing or in enjoying their time of abusing me, they would finally laugh again and leave me to suffer alone. Yet, they never left me the way they found me. When they found me, I was whole. But when they left me, I was wounded and broken. Before they came into my life, I was sure of my path. But in this unfamiliar space, I was left unsure and confused. What did I do to receive such treatment? I wondered what would cause someone to prod me and use me for sport without regard. Maybe they were more concerned about themselves, their life, and their ability to do harm to those who appeared vulnerable. Maybe it was entertaining. I am a caterpillar. I was made this way, born this way. Why would someone hate me for being me when I had no choice in my making? I kept hearing I was going to be beautiful one day and not to look at my current situation. They kept telling me I was created for God's glory and for a purpose. But how could that be? Look at how I have been treated. Look at me. But for some reason, I felt a compelling desire to keep crawling and to keep moving. Towards what? I did not know, but I continued on struggling, while in pain, slowly, but still pressing forward. For some reason, something deep inside of me tells me it is time. Although I am tired, I continue to move on, to find a space where I can be alone and hidden from my fears and unfriendly elements. I continue looking for my perfect hiding spot until, eureka, I found it. This area, underneath this humongous milkweed leaf, will certainly keep my enemies out. I must start transitioning into my next stage. I start to shed my skin, the outer part, which was wounded, until I reveal my chrysalis. There I was, twisting, turning and fidgeting, spinning, almost out of control. I know that I must do this. It is my reason for living. It is what I am born to do. At least that's what all of the other caterpillars did. I feel protected and at peace. I can hear the noise of nature around me, yet I am untouched and I feel safe. As time progresses, however, I also discover that I feel imprisoned by this moment of solace in my self-created encasement, and I find myself wrestling with my conception. Why was I even born? Is it me? Did I do something to deserve this treatment? Is this all I was created to be, a lonely caterpillar? At first I was comforted to be in this space, yet reality sets in, and I realize no one can get in, but neither can I get out. While reflecting, I feel something happening to me, which I have never felt before. I am changing. I continue wondering if I picked the right hiding spot, and if this was part of that thing called process. I recognize picking the right place to develop determines my survival. I hoped I had it right and felt doubtful and fearful. I feel alone, and I can't talk to anyone, and that frustrates me. It is in this lonely, broken space where I am made to reason, contemplate, and accept. Is there a reason for me to live? Did my Maker create me and forget about me? I am in my most difficult moment. Is he even here? Is there a greater purpose for my life? Do I not see it? Am I valuable? And will I make an impact as a result? Is there anything worth fighting for? I find myself experiencing feelings of discouragement, perplexity, dismay, and on the other hand, anticipation and exhilaration far greater than anything I could ever have imagined. Expectancy. Mostly, I am beginning to not like this stage at all. My caterpillar family did not warn me about this. I have subjected myself to intense and emotional pain, and I cannot escape it. These growing pains are excruciating, and I am fearful that I might not make it out of this chrysalis alive. I'm going to stop there. Let me grab my Post-it note so that when I come back on again, hopefully tomorrow, I won't read the same thing to you. What do you think about that? Here's this caterpillar, starts off on this journey, doesn't really know where it's going, but is on this soft green grass, probably in a park somewhere, and continues until it reaches this hard substance. And it doesn't just reach the hard substance of the concrete, but it reaches the hard substance of people who didn't understand it, people who looked at this caterpillar and instead of celebrating it for being a caterpillar, which is what it was in the first place, just like we're humans, they looked at it and said, well, this caterpillar is not like me, ew, yuck, and all of these things. And the caterpillar, as we read, comes off and says, listen, I didn't make myself this way. My Maker made me this way. I'm not ugly. I'm not yucky. I'm a caterpillar. They continue to use this caterpillar for sport and pick it up on a twig and swing it around and showing it to everybody. Look at this. You ever have that happen to you where you were in a space where you felt like you could have and should have been celebrated, but instead people were picking and ridiculing you? Calling you out of your name and looking at things that they considered to be a flaw, which probably were not. Looking at maybe even different scars that you may have encountered, whether physical or not, or emotional. And instead of speaking words of comfort or encouraging you and saying, guess what? You know what? You're resilient, you're brave, you have courage. They did the opposite and pointed out your flaws and spoke about them as if they were weaknesses instead of maybe battle scars, or instead of